speaker, one who saw the Beatles way back when, is Roger Storr. It's about one thing, another one of Roger's non-manual speeches. Please welcome Roger Storr.
It's about one thing, and I am passionate about this one thing. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. As many of you know, last year I went through training to become what's known as a CASA, which is an acronym, C-A-S-A, Court-Appointed Special Advocate. I am the voice for abused children who don't have their own voice in court and in the whole system. I got my first case, I received my first case in January of this year. A 4-year-old boy and his half-sister, a 2-year-old girl. Let me explain how the system works here. When a child is abused, they're taken by Travis County to what's called TMC, Temporary Managing Conservatorship. The person who gave birth to them, and I use that term because I can't use the term mother because they're not mothers. And the man who created that child, I can't use that term as a father because they're not fathers either. They're usually absent in most cases. That woman has basically a 1-year window, a 365-day window, to really get her act together. In Travis County, about 80% of these cases are drug or alcohol related, but there are other cases too. But they're provided with many, many services: psychological counseling, food stamps, social security income, housing, Section 8 housing, a whole slew. They get an attorney. We pay for all of this, by the way, within Travis County. I represent the children in all this. And there's one thing that I'm really passionate about, and it's all about one thing. And I'm going to come to that later. In this particular case, the woman had abandoned these children 12 times, just left them, sometimes at hospitals, sometimes with neighbors, gone away for 7.5 months. Comes back 7.5 months later, all of a sudden she decides she wants her children back. There are no men in her life. One, we don't know where he is, we think he's back in Mexico. The second one is incarcerated for 8 years for assault. She disappears for 7.5 months. We think it's going to be a really simple case. These children, the mother will have her parental rights terminated and then they'll go into the adoption system. Wrong. 7.5 months later, she reappears, says, I really want my children back. She gets appointed an attorney. Turns out that she's pregnant now with a third child. This woman is 22 years old. Third child, third guy. Also privileged to see his criminal record, which has 7 DWIs, 2 criminal assaults, and terroristic threats on it. So she's really doing a great choice here. I have a court date set for next week, October the 9th, and then there's another court date, which hopefully will be the final court date, which is November the 16th. Throughout the course of these court dates, I have to present to the judge basically how the children are doing and what I think. And this is the thing that I'm passionate about. I believe that for these children to stand a chance in life, they need to be taken away from the woman who gave birth to them. Unfortunately, the system is so heavily skewed towards reunification of these families that it really annoys me. And sure, this lady, I know her record, I know her history, and yes, she had terrible upbringing. Her parents had her taken away by Travis County due to abuse of her. But I don't care about that. To me, it's all about one thing. And the one thing is giving these children a chance. With her, they don't stand a chance. But she says she wants them back, so she gets an attorney, and we get a trial that we all pay for. She has no way of taking care of herself, let alone 2 children that she abandoned for 7 months, plus she's going to give birth to a 3rd child in January of 2013, from a guy who, in my opinion, shouldn't be around children, certainly shouldn't be driving children with 7 DWIs. Why he's not incarcerated, again, I have no earthly idea. So to me, it's all about the one thing, and that is terminating parental rights. And that will be something that I will be passionate about. It will not be my decision, it will be the judge's decision. But it is something that I believe these children, who are wonderful children, I've got to know them very well, they're now 5 and 2 years old. They're with a woman who wants to adopt them. She's a wonderful mom, she's a single mom, she's never been married. I'm the only male role model, interestingly enough, that these children have really ever seen that's been worth a damn, because this is a Mexican drug gang situation. So they've never experienced a decent role model. Many of you may kind of argue with that context, but believe me, it's true, relatively speaking. So the thing that I am truly passionate about is getting these children separated legally from the woman that gave birth to them, so that they can be adopted by a wonderful foster mom who wants to adopt these children, and would break her heart if these children were ultimately given back to the woman that gave birth to them. So that's my goal. Hopefully it will come to an end in the next 4 or 5 weeks, which will be the 1-year anniversary of them being taken away by Travis County. It's a very rewarding volunteer position, pretty emotional as you can imagine at times, but I've got to really love these 2 children as I've got to know them over the last year. And it really, to me, is all about that one thing.